I don't think people without kids realize how much free time they actually have.
Oh, brother! Y'all reheat these nachos every couple months. Being mad at somebody else because they chose not to push a cum critter out of their vagina is insane. And to say we're on vacation 24/7 is even more insane. Like, you gotta live with the fact that you chose to wake up on a fucking Saturday morning and watch fucking Coco Melon and listen to Baby Shark on fucking repeat. You chose to be a parent. Do it quietly. And wrap this fucking conversation up. I'm tired.
Can all my women in their 30s tell me what it's like to not have kids?
Hi, I'm 33 and I have no kids. And I have no kids by choice. And I don't want kids. I personally don't think this creator did anything wrong having kids in her 30s. I don't think there is a perfect time to have kids. I don't think you'll ever be ready to have kids. As long as you wanted kids, then you're good. You're solid. The kids are going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine. But me personally, I don't want kids. I've never wanted kids. You see my house, it's beige as fuck because I don't have kids. My dog, she's not here right now, but she's beige. She fits the aesthetic. I'm too selfish to have kids, plain and simple. I'm too selfish to have kids. And that's just because I was raised in a Latino household where I practically raised my brothers and sisters, including my mom. I raised her too. So I've been raising people my entire life. I don't want to do it anymore. My mom has scarred me from ever wanting children. My mom says that when I was like 15, or probably even younger, I always said that I don't want kids. I don't want kids. I can't imagine the life that I live now. And it's not like I do anything wild. It's not like I'm fucking going out every single day. I truly like my peace. My house is always quiet. Listen, when my sister, I have a 10-year-old sister. When my sister says, Vicky, I want to, but I'm not. Can you imagine if that was mommy? I simply can't do it. Shout out to all the mothers out there doing it, killing it, single mothers. I was raised by a single mother like you guys. You guys are the bomb.com. But me, simply, I could never do it. I just can't do it. I don't want to do it. I choose not to do it. I'm too selfish with my time. I don't care what the men on this app got to say. Oh, you look old. No man's ever going to want you anyway. I don't care. Pookie, I simply don't care. Look at me. I'm so happy. I can't do it, but it's not for me. My life's great. And I don't think women that have children, I don't think your life sucks. And I don't understand this beef between women that have children and women who don't have children. Like, you guys want to rave about your kids. I love that for you. I want to rave about the fact that I don't have kids and I never will. So I think we should just unite, love each other, say fuck them kids together.
I don't think people without kids realize how much free time they actually have.
Oh, brother! Y'all reheat these nachos every couple months. Being mad at somebody else because they chose not to push a cum critter out of their vagina is insane. And to say we're on vacation 24/7 is even more insane. Like, you gotta live with the fact that you chose to wake up on a fucking Saturday morning and watch fucking Coco Melon and listen to Baby Shark on fucking repeat. You chose to be a parent. Do it quietly. And wrap this fucking conversation up. I'm tired.
When I was 20, I decided not to have kids, and for most of my 20s and my 30s, people kept telling me that I regret it, that I'd look back and wish I made a different choice, or they'd say, oh, you'll meet the right person and things will come together. I've never regretted not having kids, not once. And I'm 46 years old. So for 26 years, people have been telling me that I would regret it, and I never have, not once. And you wanna know why? Because I have peace, I have freedom, I have an amazing life, I go on adventures all the time, I get to spend all of my money on myself, and if you're worried about like the effect that having kids will have on you personally, I'm 46 years old. This is what a 46-year-old looks like when they don't have to worry about kids, when they don't have the stress and the drama and all the bullshit that goes along with them. So if you're in your 20s and people are telling you that you'll regret having kids, chances are you won't. Chances are you won't regret not having kids, and you'll fucking love your life.
Having kids made you feel like a real woman? That's a pretty extreme way to affirm your gender.
So I'm a content creator, and a few weeks ago my video on being child-free and single went viral, mostly because it was me on a plane in business class toasting with my friend and just enjoying just life and the fact that I have no responsibilities. Anyway, recently it's been posted onto different Instagram pages, and I found that a lot of the comments have been basically aimed towards saying things like I'm bragging, that if I'm so happy being child-free in this season, then why do I feel the need to post about it? And number 3, a lot of people are just saying that I'll be childless, lonely, and die alone. Now, I wanted to talk about, number 1, this whole bragging thing. Let's actually look at what bragging means. Okay, so to talk boastfully, to assert boastfully, and let's look at the examples, because that's where the real kicker is. Always bragging about his success, bragged that she was the fastest runner on her team. Oh, I think that bragging thing is very much a telltale sign that I'm living something and I'm experiencing something that they kind of want and don't have. And aside from the capitalism and the luxury aspect, I mean, I work very hard for my job. I've been in this industry for 10 years. But aside from that, if you look at the examples of bragging about your success and bragging about being the fastest runner on the team, those are things that people covet, that people want, and certain people don't have. And I think a lot of this child-free discussion, when it comes to, oh, you're bragging, is inferring that you want something that some child-free people do have. Number 2, I really wanted to talk about this whole thing of like, oh, silent happiness. And if you're so content being child-free and single, why do you need to feel the need to boast about it? Which completely ignores the fact that when people get engaged, they post their engagement pictures. When they're getting ready for the wedding, they post that they're looking for their wedding dress. They also post the rehearsal dinner. They post the wedding and the outfits, the reception dress. They post their beauty routine. They post the makeup. They post the bridesmaids on their bachelorette trips. They post the stag do's. So we can celebrate all of these things, not to talk of people posting their children's birthdays, their children's first days of school, their children's first steps, their children's first words, children's first holiday. They can post all of these nuggets and moments of happiness, but when single people and child-free people do it, it's kind of like, be quiet. And it's so interesting because it means that certain types of life choices are to be celebrated and certain types of life choices aren't to be celebrated, and they're not to be talked about, they're not to be posted about, because if you're so happy about it, you should be quiet. It's giving hush hush, and it's, if I'm honest, it's giving a little bit of resentment, but you know, I'll leave that for y'all to discuss.
The term child-free is offensive.
Yeah. So I tried having a conversation with this person on her page, but she really dug her heels in and she wants to be a victim in this scenario. So we're going to pick apart her argument on my page instead.
So when you think of the term child-free, it's really reminiscent of other terms that we use like debt-free, cancer-free, disease-free.
So you specifically chose things that were negatively charged to prove your point, but you could just as easily say that something is hands-free. That doesn't necessarily mean the device is better. It's just an alternative option for people that want a hands-free device. The same thing could be said for car-free zones in the city. Like, it's just a designation. Adding a free suffix is not assigning connotation. You're the one who's comparing children to diseases. You literally sound like someone who loves alcohol reacting badly to an alcohol-free label on a beverage that's not even for them. Like, alcohol-free? What is this company trying to say about alcohol? Like, what's their point? That's how you sound. It is just an alternative option.
Saying that having children is a burden and it's an undesirable situation to be in. And it's something that you have freed yourself from.
Even if I did agree with you that child-free is not a neutral term, all of those things that you said are true for people who don't want children. Children are burdens for those who can't financially afford them, for those who don't want them in their lives and don't live a lifestyle that would accommodate for children, for those who were raised in abusive or emotionally manipulative households who now as adults don't have the tools to properly raise children to be healthy. And don't even get me started on bodily autonomy and what's happening in the US right now. Being child-free is absolutely a freedom.
I bet I'm speaking for most parents here. The vast majority of people that choose to have children are extremely happy.
I don't think you should speak for other people, because if TikTok has taught me anything, it's that a lot of parents, and especially mothers, are not extremely happy. They are struggling for a lot of reasons.
So even just the term child-free is triggering to many parents.
Mentally healthy people are not triggered by phrases like this. This is just you, babe. Instead of trying to police everyone around you and the entirety of the child-free community on TikTok, why don't you just work on your emotional regulation and how you respond to these type of phrases?
If you're not going to have kids, you better have a damn good reason. And I don't have kids, but I'm hyper aware that I have to account for that because it's what nature wants me to do. And so if I'm not going to do it, then I better find what the thing is that's going to give me meaning and purpose and all of that.
I don't want to. And I don't want to is a damn good reason. Like, why do these people always want some deep-seated, deep-rooted meaning as to why we are deciding to not have kids? Why is I don't want to never sufficient enough? I don't want to get pregnant. I don't want to go through pregnancy. I don't want to go through childbirth. And then I don't want to have to spend my entire life being emotionally, physically, and financially responsible for another human being. And I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for what I'm about to say, but I really don't care. Not everybody needs a podcast, and stores need to stop selling microphone equipment to men. I'm so sick of men with microphones. So when somebody says, I don't want to have kids, that is not an open invitation for an argument. That is not an open invitation for a debate. That is not an open invitation for you to try to invalidate their decision. Don't ask why. Don't say, well, then what's your purpose? Don't say, well, you better have a good reason for not wanting to have kids. Just accept that some people don't want to have kids. When somebody tells you, I don't want to have kids, just simply accept that as their answer and move on.
I have been seeing so many people online lately bragging about how they don't have kids.
Unhealed people only hear their triggers, and this Karen is a perfect example of that. If your joy at not having children is triggering people to react in this way, then just know that you are doing something right, because that means that your joy is so palpable that they can actually feel it. And for them, it's triggering because they have not healed or reconciled for themselves their own beliefs around this specific topic. You will not believe the amount of parents that I have talked to who have told me if they could do it over again, they would not have children. It's actually every single parent I have ever talked to. I'm not saying that's the case for everyone, but for her and the other Karens that are speaking out about this and saying it's not a flex to be child-free, for them to be so triggered actually says more about them than it does about us, because we're living our happy-go-lucky child-free lives over here.
I don't think people without kids realize how much free time they actually have.
Oh no, we do. We know, which is why many of us have chosen to not have children.
Like, they are practically on vacation 24/7.
I don't think mothers on maternity leave realize how much free time they have. I mean, they're practically on vacation 24/7. Kind of a wild thing to say, isn't it? If we want to talk about demographics that don't know something, let's talk about parents. I don't think parents know just how insufferable they are. I don't think parents, specifically mothers, know that they are the biggest deterrents for people who are child-free from making the decision to have children. I don't need to have children. You guys have shown me more than enough that you're miserable with that life.
Now, don't get me wrong, I love spending time with my kids, but
if you are so happy being a mom, if you are so happy being a parent, why are you constantly on the internet talking about how child-free people this, child-free people that? You don't get free time. I'm always tired. You can't compare your tired to mine. My tired is just so unique. It's a tired that has never existed in the world before having children. Oh my God. You sound like you really love being a mom. To act like people who are child-free don't have responsibilities like work, or working more than one job, or going to school while working, or going to school while working more than one job, or having animals that they have to raise, or a home they have to take care of, or maybe a parent they have to take care of. To act like being a parent gives you a unique experience on being tired Again, that's that insufferability I was talking about.
It's just funny because like I have friends that don't have kids, and I just get a kick out of hearing them say like, oh, I'm so tired or I'm so busy. And I really try not to be that friend that's like, oh, well, girl, imagine if this, imagine, like, I despise people like that.
I don't want to be that friend to them. So I'm actually just going to come to the internet instead and say it to everybody here instead of saying it to their faces. Yeah, because motherhood is awesome and I have so much fun doing it. You made a lifestyle, lifelong commitment and choice to have children, and it changes it. It changes your lifestyle. That's why many people who don't have children and have actively chosen to be child-free are child-free. Many of us don't want to give up whatever free time we do have to waste in our minds or spend or invest in your minds on a child.
But I'm just saying, a person without kids free time is completely different than a person who has kids free time. So take advantage now while you can.
There's like a flip that switches in the brains of many parents, and it's like a cognitive dissonance insufferability switch. They don't really realize how obnoxious and you sound miserable. You do a great job selling me and not wanting to have children. Other child-free people, their content, child-free content, has never once persuaded me not to have children. But the content and the things I hear from the mouths of parents, they do. Because the last thing I want to do is just naturally become insufferable just because I became a parent. That seems to be like the standard deviation. That seems to be the route that people go down. It's like you can't be a parent without being annoying. You have to sit and complain. You have to sit and complain about how child-free people have it so easy, as if you didn't make the choice to have children. That was your decision. That was your decision. Maybe something you should have looked into before you had them.
I don't think people without kids realize how much free time they actually have.
You can't have kids and come up here and complain to us like we made you have kids, like we impregnated you. Are you out of your damn mind? And the fact that she's out here trying to make it seem like people that don't have kids are living this totally unrealistic life. Girl, it's a realistic life that you could have had, but you decided to have kids, which is up to you. Everybody choose what they want, right? But y'all need to stop this. Oh my God, I've seen so many videos this year. Women need to stop having kids if you're going to complain about your kids. Stop it. Literally stop it. Nobody's asking you to have kids. And then what I'm not understanding is that half of y'all women that have kids, your husband don't even help y'all with your kids. A lot of your husband don't even know your kids' birthday. A lot of the husband don't even know your kids' eyes color. Stop playing with me. Like, what are we doing online? And you out here bashing women, or you're trying to bash women in like such a lady way, I guess, about like, she was basically saying we have so much time in our hand because we don't have kids. No, duh. That's the whole point of not having kids. Why would I want to have kids? 1, 2, why would I want to have kids when I know my husband ain't gonna help me? 3, why would I want to have kids just because society want me to have kids? 4, why have kids when I can literally travel every other day? When I can live my life every other day? When I don't have to call somebody or find a babysitter to watch them just for me to go across the street? Why would I do that? Like, it's such an inconvenience. Like, yes, like I understand why people want to have kids, and I think that's great. Like, this, keep them coming, okay? I like seeing other people have families and have kids. My sister have a kid. Like, I love them. But I don't want that for myself. I genuinely don't want a life where everywhere I go I have to consider my kids, or I have to put them in.
Nobody made you have those kids. Stop projecting whatever resentment or disdain you have for the choice you made onto other people. Just because an adult doesn't have kids doesn't mean that their life is somehow less meaningless and they have all this free time. I mean, my day can be full of so much other stuff, but for some reason, so many people think that it invalidates whatever I got going on because I'm not a father, or some other woman is not a mother. Somehow being busy, picking up a side hustle, or, engulfing yourself in your hobbies, or showing up for other friends and events that other people are doing. We all have the same 24 hours. Just because yours is different doesn't mean it means more. I want to reiterate this one more time. Nobody made you have those kids.
Have you all heard about this viral mom video in which this mom is saying that child-free people are on a 24/7 vacation? I actually want to talk for a second about the fact that there are a lot of child-free people who take on roles that require them to be on call all the time for people who aren't just their own DNA. I have a friend who runs a homeless facility. She's responding to emergencies all of the time. She has dedicated her life to bettering the life of people who are not related to her. I'd love to know if the mom that made that video is doing that, or if she's only extending her care and resources to her own DNA, her own little progenies, her own little future caretakers, her own little narcissism mini-me's. I get so tired sometimes of parents wanting all this praise for something that is ultimately an ego project. That's what a kid is. I'm not impressed by that. I think it's fine if it makes you happy, but I'm not going to give you an award for it. Tell me that you have dedicated your days to the betterment of someone who does not share DNA with you, then I'm impressed.
The craziest thing about that video that's currently going viral all over TikTok of that lady talking about she doesn't think that people who don't have kids understand how much free time they have. The craziest thing about that video is she's proven the theory that I've always had about people who have children. I'm sorry, the hypothesis, not the theory, right? But it's slowly becoming a theory. I've always worked or operated under the assumption that people do not truly think about having kids. They don't think before they have kids. And the reason I'm saying this is because after she made that rather obtuse statement, right after she said, well, you don't figure this out until after you have kids. You don't figure out, oh, baby, no, that's not, oh. I've always been an observer. I observe, I make an analysis, and then I make a decision. I could tell from the time I was 9, and I've said this multiple times on my page, I was never going to have children. I knew I did not want to have children. You know why? Because I observed that you don't get your time to yourself. I was told by multiple generations of women prior to me, and maybe it was my blessing that I really had some real people, real women in my life. Yeah, you might want to think about having kids for real, because your time will not be to yourself. And like many of the women in your comments, that is why we don't want to have children. Because if you want to be honest, let's start from the beginning. If you don't have the ability to critically think, to observe, or to have prior knowledge from relatives, your own example, like of your mom, family, friends, you're already starting off in a dangerous place of understanding, babe. Then let's go into pregnancy, conception, baby. For 9 to 10 months, your time and your body is not truly yours. You're sharing it while you're growing a child. And then after you have that child, your body and your time is still not yours, because what are you probably doing? Breastfeeding for about a year. And then, oh, you think it ends then? That toddler, that little baby, that 1 or 2 year old that's a little bit independent, that's walking around getting into shit, yeah, they're still very much so dependent on you. So guess what? Your time is needed. They need your time. All your time is dedicated to that child. Oh, and when they get in school, they're going to get sick. You see what I'm saying? They're going to get sick. And guess what? Your time is not to you. You got to go pick up your child. You got to go pick them up. Time is really something that you should consider before you have children. And again, back to my main point, it's just proven what I've always hypothesized about people who have kids. Y'all don't think. You're not thinking of the time it's going to take to raise these children, the time it's going to take to invest in these children. But the people who don't have children are, which is scary. Very, very scary. Then she made a follow-up video saying that she ruffled some feathers. You didn't ruffle feathers. If anything, your statements were very telling. Again, let's circle back to you comparing our free time to vacation. So what are you saying indirectly about parenting? What it's like, a full-time job? Heard that before. 24/7 job? Yeah, I bet. No days off until you get a break? Yeah. And then whether it was intentional or not intentional, you were indirectly dismissing the fact that people who don't have children, like, they might have goals and aspirations, things that they want to do before they have children, because they understand the concept of time and the dedication. Again, I'm going to keep repeating these things it takes to raise a child. You have to have that. You can't have that. You can't do two at the same time. You can, but it's going to be extremely hard. I'm not saying you can't, but it's going to be really difficult to do those things at the same time. That's probably why they're choosing not to have them yet until they have the time. End of my TED Talk.
Single and child-free women, do you know that you are an answered prayer? Do you know that there were women in your lineage who got on their knees and prayed to God and said, please God, if you bring me back, please let me be free. And then you were born. Did you know that? So the next time you go clubbing and you go drinking, make sure you pour some out for the women that came before you, because they crawled so that you can fly. Okay?